The next element that we're going to be discussing is widgets. The purpose of a WordPress widget is to display various types of content in different areas of your website. You can use these in sidebars, the footer, or the header. One of the advantages of using widgets is you don't have to edit the theme's code directly. Widget areas are useful for showing additional information on a page without distracting users from the main page content. Let's go back to our site and learn about widgets. You may have recalled from the last exercise that we did when we customized our single post page, we turned on this sidebar area. I had mentioned that these elements are all widgets. We're going to customize this area and refine the widgets that show within our single posts. We'll go back to the dashboard area of the website. We're going to go to Appearance, Widgets. We'll be editing the main sidebar widget. I did want to mention that we had already worked on widgets. We used widgets in our footer for the two custom sections of the footer area. So even though we hadn't discussed these as being widgets, we actually already used these. The main sidebar widgets are comprised of several different areas. And if we want to look a little bit more detail into these areas, we can go into List View, and you can see under the main sidebar the types of elements that are part of this particular widget. So we start off with a search bar. The search bar is certainly helpful as it will allow users to be able to search for a term on your website to get where they need. I'm going to leave this here. However, I am going to style this a little bit differently. It also is worth noting that the search bar looks different in the back end compared to the front end. I don't really like how the search area shows up as red before the user has clicked inside. So let's see if we can adjust this. Now that I have search selected, I can control things like alignment. I can change the button position. You can place the button inside, have no button, or have a button only. I'll leave my button on the outside. You can also use a button with an icon, which is what I prefer, so I'm going to do this. I'll come over here to the right and I'm going to click on Styles. This is where I can alter things about the search area. So if we come in here and we change the background, you can see that currently I'm editing my button. I will make this the teal color that we are using on most of our buttons. The text color is going to be white, and everything else looks pretty good. Now I'm going to click inside of the input area. I'm going to add a border to my input area. I'm going to make this dark gray, and I'll change the width to 1. I'm also going to add a little bit more rounding, so I'll change this to 12. Unfortunately, we are not able to control this default color in this area, so we will look into this a little bit later. Let's continue to work on our widget area. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these areas. I do not want the recent comment area, so I'm going to select this group and I will just delete it by clicking the 3 dots and choosing delete. The same is true for the category and archive section. I'm going to delete these as I don't feel like they're very helpful for my website. I am going to leave recent posts. However, I do want to redesign this area a little bit. So I'm going to select the latest posts area. You can see that you can choose to show post content, which is going to show the excerpt or the full post. You can also display the author name and the post date. In addition, you can turn on the featured image. I'm going to leave the post date as well as the post title. I'll change the number of items to 6 to add 1 more, and then I'm going to go to the Styles section. Here, I'll make some adjustments to the text itself. I want to be able to choose my size without this t-shirt sizing. I want to be able to size these numerically, so I'm going to click the Set Custom Size. This will allow me to numerically set a size. I'm going to set the size to these to 12. I'm satisfied with the way this is looking. In addition to the recent posts, we are going to add another area to our sidebar. This is going to be a custom area. You can basically create whatever you want within the sidebar by using the block editor. I'm going to insert a new block and I will create a new row. I'll change to list view and we're going to drag this row so that it's underneath search and above the recent posts. Sometimes when you have a lot of elements inside your list view, it makes sense to rename these things. If you come to the three dots, you can go ahead and rename these. So instead of group, I'm going to call this recent posts. This will just help me to stay a little bit more organized as I'm looking through this area of my website. What I want to do inside of this row is I want to send users to certain areas of my website. I'll start off by creating a heading, and I'm going to title this Care and Tips. I want to ensure that the users are informed about how they can care for their terrariums. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an additional block. I'll click on my plus sign, and what we're going to insert here is media and text. This will allow us to create some media as well as add some text. I will go to the media area. I'm going to click upload as I have a new image that I want to insert here. I'm going to navigate and find the image that I want to upload, and I'll click open. This is going to place this image here. Ideally, I would like the headline to be above this area. I'm going to select the row and we're going to transform this into a stack. This will allow the headline to appear and then the media and text are going to appear underneath it. Inside this right-hand panel, I'm just going to write some text. In addition to having this paragraph, I'm going to hit the plus sign and I'm going to insert a button. The button is going to send users to a section of the website that covers terrarium tips. What we are going to do is we are going to use our categories to have users go to a section of the web page that only shows tips. I'll use the search field to show you what this looks like. If I type tips and hit the search bar, it's going to take me to search results for tips. As you can see, it's only going to display my posts that cover tips of caring for your terrariums. We'll go back here and we're going to click the link section. I need to type a URL or search for something. If I type tips, you can see that it's going to take me to the category section that has tips. By doing this, anytime I create a new post that has the category of tips, it will show up on this page. With the button selected, I'm going to come to the style area and we're going to change the background color to our dark teal. The text color can remain white. I'm going to add a border of white and make it 1 pixel. And I'm going to increase the border radius to round this button. In between these two areas, care and tips, I want to insert one more element. This is going to be a separator. I will go ahead and click on the stack area. I'm going to click the plus sign and I'll search for separator. This is simply going to create a horizontal separator line, and you can control different things about this. So you can go ahead and control the alignment, and then over here on the right, you can choose a wide line. You can use dots. I'm going to use the default. I'm going to change the color to be our lime green color, and you can add margin if necessary. Let's click update. And we'll go to the front end portion of our website. We're going to go back to a single post page. And now you can see the modified section that I've created for my widget. Looking at this now, I don't really like how the picture and the text align, so let's modify this. Let's select the media and text block, and we're going to change this. We will change media and text into a column. As you can see, this has now been transformed into a column. And I have 2 subcolumns inside. I'm going to grab the paragraph and drag it underneath the image as well as the button. This is going to ensure that both of these appear within the first column. Now I'm going to select the second column, which is empty, and hit delete. In addition, I'm going to select the first column and make sure that it's set to 1. I'll select this inner column and let's change the width to 100%. This will ensure that this now takes up the full width. I'm going to click update, and if we refresh in the browser, you can see that this looks much better. I'm liking the way the sidebar now looks, although I would like to change the input field. Unfortunately, in this version of this particular theme, there is not a place where I can actually control and alter anything about my input field. So we're going to have to do this with some custom CSS. There are a few things that we want to be able to modify using custom CSS, so we will look at that in an upcoming video. I do, however, hope that you understand a little bit more about widgets and take full advantage of customizing these widget areas. The sidebar is a great place that you can direct users to specific areas of your website and include just about any content that you want that will dynamically update and appear within the sidebar of posts or pages where you have decided to turn this feature on.